Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Dufresne.
Thank you, Carl, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming tonight to hear one of my favorite topics. I'm not a scientist, but I am a lifelong lover of mushrooms. I remember my mom putting mushrooms in everything: pizza, pasta, soup, salad, and to this day, my wife and I, Josephine, own a mushroom farm in Milton. So let's get started with a pop quiz to warm up everybody. What is the correct way to pronounce the plural of fungus? There are three ways, they're all correct. Fungi, fungi, and fungi, which is what I am. The plant kingdom, the fungi kingdom consists of mushrooms, yeasts, molds, rusts, smuts, lichen, or all of the above. All of the above. Yeast you make beer with, as Clay knows. Molds for penicillin and camembert cheese. Rusts and smuts are plant parasites. And lichen is a fungus with a symbiotic relationship with algae. So what did the fungus say to the algae? I'm taking a liking to you. Ba-boom. All righty. A mushroom is a fruit, vegetable, weed, or none of the above. Oh, you guys are good. The big difference is that mushrooms rely on oxygen and organic nutrients to grow, and plants rely on carbon dioxide and photosynthesis to grow. And there are a lot of other differences, but that's a basic one. Approximately how many species are in the plant kingdom? 3,800, 38,000, 380,000, or 3.8 million? What letter? D? Yep. Approximately how many species are in the fungi kingdom? A, B, C, or D? There are 10 times as many species in the fungi kingdom, and they're discovering new ones almost every day. It's just unbelievable. Mushrooms reproduce by dispersing their seeds, spores, nuts, or eggs. To use the analogy, let's assume fungus is an apple tree. The mushroom is the apple, or the reproductive fruit of the tree, and the spores are the seeds inside the apple. So let's look at the anatomy of a mushroom. You have the cap, and it can either have scales, zonothons, striations. Under the cap, there could be either gills or teeth or tubes. The spores are released from the cap and germinate underground. And the mycelium, or as labeled here, mycelial threads, are the root of the mushroom. To identify a mushroom, you need to observe the color. Is it brown or yellow or red, black or white? They cover the spectrum. What type of stalk does it have? Does it have a skirt? Does it have scales? Does it have a ring? What does it smell like? Earthy or sweet or odorless? What type of habitat does it grow in? The soil, on dead wood, or live tree, or what type of tree? There are some great mushroom apps that I use to learn how to identify mushrooms. Picture Mushroom is one, iNaturalist is another. It'll tell you whether or not it's poisonous or not. It logs in the location and the time, so it all goes into a database, so all the other users, it creates a heat map where things are, and it's constantly being refined. Does anybody use iNaturalist? Yeah, I figured. They're great. It's a great learning tool. Mushrooms can grow for miles searching for food. The largest living organism in the United States is a honey fungus in Oregon. It's 2,400 years old and 3.5 miles wide. That's basically from here to Georgia 400. Can you guys see this okay? Okay. Mycorrhizal mushrooms have a symbiotic relationship with the surrounding trees. Fungus gives carbon nutrients to the trees, and the trees give sugar to the fungi. Fungi and trees actually communicate and warn each other about diseases and pests. We call it the Wood Wide Web. I sound like Elmer Fudd hunting rabbits, but it's a great book. It's on the New York Times bestseller list, Entangled Life, and we're all sort of connected somehow. So I encourage you to read that. It's by Merlin Sheldrick. So this presentation has 4 parts. The history of mushrooms starting 400 million years ago. Where's Todd? How much time do I have? The ancient religious practices using mushrooms, the benefits of mushrooms, and the mushroom industry today. Fungi has been around a long time. It has survived 5 mass extinctions. The first extinction was 300 million years ago when ice covered the landscape. The next 3 extinctions were due to volcanic activity and prolonged climate change. And the 5th and most recent one was 65 million years ago when a big space rock slammed into the Yucatan Peninsula and wiped out the dinosaurs. It's all right. I should shut off mine too. Fungi is a tenacious creature. Honey, can you turn this off? The Matsutake mushroom was the first thing to grow out of the radioactive soil in Hiroshima in 1945. This is a fossilized fungi called Prototaxites. It's over 400 million years old, and it was here long, long before the dinosaurs. This is an artist's rendering of Prototaxites that would grow 2 or 3 stories high when all the other early plants were just a few feet tall. These are statues of 2 ancient Chinese emperors, Yan and Hawan. They were holding reishi mushrooms. They believed that the mushroom helped fight age-related ailments such as consumption and arthritis. This is Ötzi the Iceman. He's a 5,000-year-old mummified body that was found in the Italian Alps about 20 years ago. He carried a leather bag of accessories, including 2 types of mushrooms, a tinder polypore to start fires, and a birch polypore to remove intestinal parasites. When they found Ötzi, the scientists discovered that he had a parasite called whipworm. Poor Ötzi died from getting shot in the back by an arrow. They found an arrowhead in his back, and he was about 45 years old at the time. Moving south to Egypt, Osiris was the god of the afterlife in ancient Egyptian religion. They believed that Osiris had placed mushrooms on the earth as a gift of immortality due to its healing qualities. Affluent Romans loved mushrooms, boletes, morels, truffles, and they even used the poisonous variety on occasion. This is Claudius Caesar. He was the Roman emperor and an absolute mushroom lover. At the height of the Roman Empire, wannabe dictators often murdered their political rivals to gain power. One day, Claudius requested a bowl of his favorite mushrooms, and unfortunately, Nero, his nemesis, arranged to put a death cap mushroom in his meal. Claudius died, Nero became emperor, and he was the one who played the fiddle when Rome burned, if you remember from school. So to set this record straight, all mushrooms are edible, at least once. 20% are poisonous. They'll make you ill, but you won't necessarily die from them. But there is one, actually less than 1%, that will actually kill you. The death cap, or Amanita phalloides, it will kill you. Half of a mushroom will poison an adult human being. Within 12 hours after ingesting it, you have violent abdominal pain and intense thirst. Within 72 hours, you start to have kidney and liver failure, and then you go into a coma, and then within a week, you're dead. So a word to the wise. If you ever go foraging with your friends and host a dinner party afterward, does anyone go foraging for mushrooms? Okay, good. So you probably already know this. You put, you're enjoying all the fruits of your findings, but you need to put a mushroom in a plastic bag so the emergency room knows what you ate. I'm only half kidding, but you really you need to know your mushrooms. And I encourage, I'm a lifetime member of the Mushroom Club of Georgia. We do these forays in the warmer months, and they're a lot of fun. You meet doctors, lawyers, scientists, old hippies, and you learn. And it's a very mindful exercise. So anyway, check it out. Okay, so anyway, since the dawn of man, mushrooms have played a role in religious and psychoactive practices. There are two hallucinogenic mushrooms that were commonly used then: Amanita muscaria and psilocybin cubensis. Amanita muscaria, or otherwise called as fly agaric, is toxic when eaten raw. And it's also a cousin of Amanita phalloides that killed Claudius. However, when fly agaric is cooked, it's no longer poisonous and produces hallucinations. You remember the Super Mario Brothers fairy tale? Well, there was a mushroom that looked a lot like fly agaric that would help Mario grow and become powerful. Psilocybin is not as photogenic as fly agaric, but it is a Schedule I controlled substance in Georgia, and it's illegal to cultivate and distribute it. So more about that later. The Tassili cave paintings are located in the mountains of Algeria of North Africa. On the left is the original painting of a shaman with an elaborate headgear and psychedelic mushrooms covering his body. On the right is an interpretation by a modern archaeologist. There are over 15,000 of these paintings and carvings in these caves that illustrate the spiritual practices of this hunter-gatherer society, which is pretty cool. Going down to Mesoamerica is a historic region stretching from Mexico to Costa Rica. Mesoamerican stone figurines depict humans with mushroom caps on top of their head. They believe that psilocybin was a means to communicate with the gods and created feelings of euphoria and spirituality. Vikings were brutal warriors. They typically ate fly agaric before going into battle. If you eat enough of them, it creates a ferocious state of mind. They fought with this trance-like state of blind rage, howling like wild animals, and sometimes unable to distinguish friend from foe. The berserker state gave them the heightened strength and immunity to fear and pain. So going berserk originated from the Viking warriors. I would not want to face these guys. Fast forward 700 years, King Louis XIV created the earliest commercial mushroom farms in the caves of France. It was a perfect environment for cultivating mushrooms, dark, moist, constant temperature and humidity. This was the beginning of organized mushroom farming, and it set the stage for a culinary revolution in Europe. Popular mushrooms in the 19th century were considered on par with meat. For centuries, selling mushrooms was a source of income for the rural farmers. They sold their mushrooms to wealthier city folk, and they could be either freshly harvested or dried or pickled or fermented or whatever. But it was a source of income for a lot of folks, farmers. Truffles are a highly desirable mushroom with a really unique aroma. This is an illustration, a vintage illustration of trained hogs hunting for truffles. The hogs wore muzzles to prevent them from eating the mushrooms they found. You can see one hunter in the middle kicking his disobedient hog for trying to sneak a truffle for himself. At this time, wealthy Americans across the pond took notice of French haute cuisine, and we've embraced it since then. European truffles are the world's most expensive foods. Today, black truffles can cost between $800 and $1,500 a pound. Mushrooms were prevalent with the Native Americans long before the European settlers. Cherokee Indians around here were fond of chicken of the woods or hen of the woods and called them wishi for their meat-like texture when they were cooked. The Iroquois Indians used puffballs for many purposes besides nourishment, as a hemostatic remedy to stop bleeding, as a fire starter, and as incense to ward off evil spirits. To survive the cold winters, they often dried and stockpiled mushrooms for the winter season. So essentially, they were America's first preppers. Okay, we covered the history, now the benefits. And the benefits fall into three categories. Culinary value. Food has four primary taste sensations: sweet, sour, salty, and bitter. Mushrooms add a fifth taste sensation called umami, which is a Japanese word for good flavor. It has a unique savory taste that enhances the taste of food, the flavor of food. And there are over 2,000 species of edible mushrooms around. Functional mushrooms. Environmentally friendly mushroom products are being introduced as alternatives to more polluting materials such as plastic, styrofoam, concrete, and insecticides. Medicinal benefits are very important. Research has shown that mushrooms can help, and this has been known for thousands of years, starting from Chinese medicine. They can help lower blood pressure, strengthen the immune system, improve memory, reduce inflammation, and many other benefits. Let's begin with the medicinal benefits, and these are the top 10 healthy mushrooms based on research. We'll start with reishi at the top and go clockwise around the circle. Reishi is a medium to large mushroom. It grows at the base of trees. It has a potent compound called triterpene, which can strengthen the immune system and increase the white blood cell activity. It also has tamoxifen, which research has shown that may reduce the risk of certain types of cancer. They have a bitter taste and commonly sold as a dietary supplement in the form of capsules, powders, pills. Oyster mushrooms, they usually start fruiting after the first rain in the fall. There's an old saying, when it rains, it spores. They can help with weight management. They're low in calories, low in carbohydrates, high in fiber, and they're a great source of antioxidants. They help reduce cellular and liver damage caused by toxins in the environment. They have a mild taste and a silky texture, and they're excellent with seafood, chicken, pork, and great with stir-fried. I have a recipe book up here. This is he's actually from a scientist, a forager, and he understands chemicals and heat, and you can make unbelievable things just with what you found, and they're meatless and delicious. So I recommend this book. It's by Wayne Hyatt. Black hoof was a traditional Chinese treatment for gastrointestinal ailments. They can help balance the microbiome in the gut and promote good bacteria for digestion. It also has beta-glucan, which can help boost your immunity. They have a bitter taste and are usually in tea or a dietary supplement. Wood ear. What a coincidence, it looks just like an ear. They're used as a skincare product, often with facial creams and moisturizers. They help heal wounds and promote rapid skin repair. They don't have much of a taste, but they absorb flavors incredibly well. You often find them in Chinese hot and sour soup and mushu pork. Delicious. Cordyceps, they're bright orange. They kind of look like Cheetos. Historically, they were considered a superfood that slows the effect of aging. Research indicates that it had anti-tumor effects, such for certain types of cancer. The kidneys play a critical role in detoxifying our body of about 200 quarts of blood a day. And this mushroom supports kidney function through an active compound called cordycepan. They're mild and have a savory taste and a very versatile addition to many dishes and beverages. They're popular with teas, coffees, and smoothies. Chaga doesn't look like a typical mushroom because it's not. It's actually a mass of fungal mycelium that you find in injured birch trees. It's like a canker. Chaga will help reduce the LDL bad cholesterol while increasing antioxidants. Chaga can help with type 2 diabetes by increasing the pancreatic insulin production and reducing insulin resistance by the body. They often use it with kidney transplants to help in the healing process. It's commonly used as a tea. I take an occasional cup of chaga tea before going to bed, and I just sleep like a baby. Shiitake, very popular. High levels of vitamin D to strengthen the bones. High levels of both vitamin B, as in boy, and pantothenic acid, which can give you an energy boost. They're incredibly versatile. Rich, meaty flavor, can be stir-fried, sautéed, used in soups, grills. They have a chewier texture, and they're great for mushroom jerkies. Philip Beck is my mushroom jerky taster, so he can attest to their savoriness. Maitake mushrooms, also known as chicken of the woods, they can grow to the size of a volleyball. Traditional Chinese medicine consider them to have vast healing properties. They're good for skin care. They contain beta-glucan, which can hydrate the skin and heal wounds. They have potassium and electrolytes to help control the blood pressure. They have an earthy flavor and can be used in a variety of dishes such as soups, stir fries, and as a meat substitute for vegetarian dishes. Lion's mane is my favorite mushroom. It was reserved for royalty at different times of history. The brain's ability to grow and form new cell connections declines with age, unfortunately. Lion's mane has a protein called polysaccharides that can stimulate new brain growth, new brain cell growth. It also helps improve the hippocampus functioning, which can regulate anxiety and depression. They have a unique flavor, a sweet, nutty, umami flavor, and some say it tastes like seafood or crab or lobster. Turkey tail, it's a beautiful wild turkey's plumage. This is kind of bland looking, but they can just be absolutely gorgeous. They offer antioxidant protection by stimulating the release of protective compounds. They were used in a traditional Chinese medicine to support liver health for disorders like jaundice. The taste kind of depends on who's eating it. Generally mild and earthy with a slight bitter aftertaste, and it's a popular dietary supplement. So today, dietary supplements are a rapidly growing industry, and particularly for those who prefer to consume mushrooms in the form of powder and extracts and capsules and tinctures. But a word of caution, the FDA does not regulate these supplements, so when you buy mushroom dietary supplements, you're really never quite sure of what you're actually getting. And I'm probably referring to the ones you get at farmers markets, but there are like Stonehenge health dynamic mushrooms. It's sold on Amazon, and they're legit and very good, and they actually just use the mushroom cap rather than the whole stalk and mycelium, so you get a quality product there. Mushroom therapy is gaining popularity. Today, roughly 20 veterans commit suicide every day due to depression. It's shocking. Clinical trials at Johns Hopkins University have found that psilocybin can be a beneficial treatment for anxiety, depression, addiction, PTSD, when conventional methods don't work. Mushroom therapy may also help first responders and trauma survivors when prescribed by a medical profession coupled with psychotherapy. I'm not a doctor, so I encourage you to talk to your own physician to learn more about mushroom therapy, but it's gaining credibility, and I support it as a health benefit. In addition to culinary and medicinal benefits, we're discovering new functional applications for mushrooms. Mycelium leather is a structural marvel. It's simultaneously soft and dense and strong. There's a biotech firm called MycoWorks that produces a leather-like product using reishi mushrooms. This photo of an apparel designed by Stella McCartney. Does anybody know who she is? You got it, Paul McCartney's daughter, and also a pioneer of crafted mycelium leather. It's expensive now, but soon to be mass produced. There's a new factory under construction in South Carolina. I'll pass around my business card holder. Is made out of mycelium leather, and you'll be amazed how, it's like leather. feel free to pass it around, and if you want to take a card to follow up with me after the program, feel free to do it. Yeah. Over 1 billion foam earplugs are produced every year, which takes centuries to decompose. Fortunately, new products are coming on the market like mycelium earplugs, which are better for the environment. These new single-use earplugs are made from mushroom mycelium and agricultural byproducts, which will break down within 45 days after you use them. They also have a memory foam that does a better job of filtering out unwanted noise. You wear them once and throw them away, and they'll quickly decompose and feed the environment. Mycelium packaging. This is for a winemaker. Another biotech firm, Ecovative Design, is producing packaging material made out of mushroom mycelium to replace styrofoam, which also take a long time to decompose. You put mycelium in a mold, and it'll grow to the desired shape. After 7 days, you stop the growth with heat, and you get a compostable packaging material. After a single use, you throw it in the backyard to enrich the soil. I'll pass this around. It's just mushroom and agricultural byproducts. Fabricating conventional construction materials like bricks account for 23% of the worldwide carbon emissions because they require intense heat to produce. A mycelium brick only requires about 6% of the heat needed to produce a conventional brick, about 160 degrees Fahrenheit versus 2,600 degrees Fahrenheit in a kiln. They're a lot stronger than what's being passed around right now because they're made under intense pressure. And this is a 40-foot tower made of 10,000 mycelium bricks on display at the Museum of Modern Art in New York City. While a mycelium brick is not as strong, as I mentioned, in terms of compression strength, it is 60 times lighter and much more soundproof than conventional bricks. Because of its lower compression strength, mycelium bricks are best used for insulation and non-load-bearing walls at this time. Mushroom dyes can be used to dye wool, paper, cotton, linen, silk, and other fibers, and a beautiful array of colors. Any textile artists? All right. The dye process is very simple. A lot of the stuff is very simple to prepare once you figure out how to do it. You chop up a mushroom, depending on what color you want, add water, add fiber, 1-to-1 ratio fiber to the mushroom, and simmer until you get the desired color. There are more than 70 species of mushrooms that glow in the dark, and usually you need an ultraviolet light to see them. Bioluminescent mushrooms serve an ecological benefit by attracting insects to help them efficiently spread their spores on the forest floor. Similar to the way that fireflies illuminate their tails on summer nights to attract mates, mushrooms attract insects to disperse their spores, and it's nature's way of ensuring the survival of the species. Zombie fungi kills fire ants without pesticides. The unilaterous spores come in contact with the fire ant. They enter the ant's body. They direct the ant to climb to an elevated position on the tree. The ant attaches itself to a branch. The ant, a mushroom grows out of the ant's head and releases its spores to the ground below. The ant dies in 3 hours, and the spores released from the dead ant infect the ant colony below. There are some really awful apocalypse movies made about this. Bioremediation uses fungi to decontaminate waterways. Fungi secretes enzymes that can break down durable waste material. Oyster mushrooms can degrade carbon chains in polyurethane and transform them into valuable byproducts to enrich the ecosystem. Each year, the world produces 430 million tons of plastic. However, less than 10% are actually recycled. So the rest just gets piled up in landfills and in our waterways. It is estimated that by the year 2050, not too far from here today, it is estimated that our waterways will contain more plastic by volume than fish. It's an irony that almost 60 years ago, a movie came out called The Graduate. Anybody remember that movie? In the movie, a business executive gave this advice to a young college graduate played by Dustin Hoffman. Son, I want to say one word to you, just one word: plastics. There's a great future in plastics. My final example of functional mushroom application is a living mycelium coffin. If you want your remains to feed the earth after you go, you might consider being buried in a mycelium coffin. This style of coffin is becoming popular in Europe, specifically England and the Netherlands, and it is just made out of mycelium and hemp fibers. Once the body is placed in the coffin, the mycelium decomposes the organic matter within a couple of months. For your added comfort, the coffin even has a soft bed of moss and a headrest. Fungus, and this is what I've really come to appreciate, fungus is nature's great decomposer. Otherwise, you would see dead animals and plants everywhere. So be grateful. The mushroom industry has come a long way over the years. Today, the global mushroom market is over $61 billion in size and rapidly growing. By comparison, the US mushroom market represents only 5% of the global market, but also fast growing. In the 1960s, the average American ate about a pound of mushrooms a year. Today, the average American eats about 4 pounds of mushrooms a year. And this growth is attributed to health and wellness trends, rising popularity of plant-based and non-meat diets, medicinal mushrooms becoming available in many forms, tinctures, capsules, whatever. Functional mushrooms are replacing more polluting materials. And mushroom entrepreneurs are introducing new value-added products every day. The fungus industry is mushrooming right now. Boo. Pardon my pun. The value-added fungi product is when you add or do something to an original product, such as a mushroom, and increase its worth. Here are examples of some value-added products. Mushroom logs. They've been around for a while. They're great Christmas presents. Grow kits, mushroom jerkies. I first saw this on Shark Tank. Mark Cuban invested in this guy, Indonesian guy, Pan, and now his company's making about $5 million a year in sales. So it's It's catching on. They're delicious if you haven't tried them. Same texture as regular jerkies. Mushroom coffee, extracts, art, even though it's not made of mushrooms, it is the subject of the art, and accessories like t-shirts, sweatshirts, and ties. The US Department of Agriculture has just announced a $30 million value-added producer grant program to help small farmers create new products that generate additional income. My wife and I are working on an application right now. So, I want to say one word to you, fungus. There's a great future in fungus. I hope this presentation has been informative. Feel free to reach out to me by email if you have any questions. If I may, I would like to end with a joke. Two mushrooms walk into a bar. They go up to the bartender and order a couple of beers. The bartender says, "We don't serve mushrooms in this establishment." One of the mushrooms is taken back and responds indignantly, "Why not? We're just a couple of fungi." Thank you very much.